the best you ever had. But why you sit there, darling, looking so doggone sad? I wanna know who. Baby, tell me who do you? Now, mercy. I wanna know who, baby. Baby, tell me who do you? Well, I buy you pretty clothes, you know, and diamonds and rings. But now you come a telling me that it don't mean a thing, and I wanna know who. Baby, tell me who do you? Alright. I wanna know who, baby. Baby, tell me who do you? Alright now. Well, I heard you fooling around the middle, Jimmy, John, and Slim. Well, I've been giving you, and you've been giving them. I wanna know who. Baby, tell me who do you? Oh, yeah. I wanna know who, baby. Baby, tell me who do you? Now look at here. Well, you go out every night, you know, you're just having fun. But when I wanna love you, you never give me none. And I wanna know who. Baby, tell me who do you? Now, listen. I wanna know who, baby. Baby, tell me who do you? All right, boy, let's take it on home. Hey.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome once again to Benny Auto Parts Facebook page, and welcome also to our YouTube subscribers. It's been a couple weeks now since we've been on with some newer videos of some of the builds that are going on in the shop. In the past couple weeks, we've gotten a lot of engines finished up. To go back and highlight those, the 427 tri-power motor is finished up and left. Customers got it. The 327 engine going in a 65 Corvette, that is finished up and gone. So we got two projects now we're working on. We'll highlight both of these. The first one is, and I think we had mentioned this earlier so this is a Stroker Ford that we're working on. This particular engine is the short blocks together. We put a scat rotating assembly in it. We've got it balanced, assembled. So basically we're waiting on this job, we're waiting for a Edelbrock top engine kit that we've been trying to get now since about May. And the order keeps getting delayed by Edelbrock for the various different reasons. The latest reason was that they don't have any camshaft stock. So everything else is ready to go with the exception of the camshaft. Of course, the camshaft is the very next thing we need to get the camshaft installed, get your timing chain and stuff installed, and then get it flipped over, get build. So we're kind of at a standstill. Customer is eager to get it going. So, but once again, it's hard to believe they'll talk about COVID here almost 3 years later, but supply issues still remain a problem. We're fighting those supply issues every day, especially in specialty parts like roller camshafts and lifters and such as that. But anyway, that's the project online. The block's been decked, assembled, cleaned, painted, got the brass freeze plugs installed in it. So this job is moving along. This particular engine is going into a 65 Mustang. Mustang originally had a 289 V8 in it. This started life with a 289 block. So moving over here, this is our next project on their motor stand, on the engine stand. So a little bit about this engine. This is again an iconic 327, 340 horse it's also out of a 65 Corvette, 65 Corvette convertible. The fellow that brought this to us, his name is Bear, and he's a Cajun. Great guy. Talked to him for a good little bit when he dropped it off. So he brought this engine to us from a little town called Thibodaux, Louisiana. So he had been watching our videos online and enjoying our Facebook, showing all of the videos and YouTube of how we build engines, the procedures that we go to, the time and precision that we put into each one of them that we do. He was really impressed with that. He had this engine somewhere previously, had been built by somebody. He spent quite a bit of money on getting it built, and he left the man's shop, had it back in his car, left his shop, went about 2 miles, and it started knocking. So he immediately pulled over and trying to diagnose why it was knocking. So initially what happened, he had pulled the valve cover off of it. So initially what had happened, the intake and exhaust rockers on number 1 cylinder had, for some reason, the nuts had come off of them, come loose and had fallen down into the head. And of course when that happened, the rocker jumped off, got sideways in between the spring, and it kind of locked the spring up, and that just started a chain of events that ended up pretty catastrophic. It never locked up. I don't think it locked up. He didn't say it locked up, but it had this terrible knock in it, and it was running terrible, had a lot of misfiring and so forth. So he made it to the house with it. I'm assuming, I don't know if he called a wrecker to come get it or he drove it, I don't know, but he got it home, and he kind of started doing a little diagnosis himself. So he found that as soon as he pulled this valve cover off, he found that. So he tried to get them back on there, but of course the rocker alignment was off. Rocker alignment's probably off because I'm sure it bent both valves. Springs, they didn't unhook, thank goodness. The springs didn't unhook, but it probably ruined the lifter, probably ruined the camshaft more than likely, because the hydraulic lifter wasn't working like it was supposed to. So anyway, that kind of started the issue, and then get on down here, he'd done a little, like I said earlier, a little preliminary diagnosis, and what he had found is the balancer, harmonic balancer, wasn't tight. So when the balancer not tight, the extra pressure on the valve train system, it actually spun the key out. Balancer being loose, wobbling around, along with the issue of the valve train problem going on, it spun the key out of the balancer, and the balancer actually came off. So luckily it didn't do any damage to the balancer. We've got it. He brought it to us. I think it's in the, so here's his harmonic balancer. It'd be okay. You can kind of see where it took a little, some little bumps and bangs here and there, but it looks. So, of course, when he spun that key out of it, when he spun the keyway out, there's really no way to fix that. So he had been in contact with us about a crankshaft. This particular crankshaft is a small Journal 327. He called us wanting to know if we had one that he could buy from us. Well, I did have a 327, but it wasn't a small journal, it was a large journal. Difference in 67 back 327s are all small journals. Basically 68 forward are what we call big journal cranks. So this is a small journal, this is a small journal block. So anyway, he called me and said, hey, I found one online on eBay. Would you mind going and take a look at it and see what you think about it? So I did. He gave me the item number. I called it up on eBay, took a look at it. I thought it was a relatively good deal for him. He got the crankshaft, I think, for somewhere around $375 shipped to him. When it came in, he saved it, and then when he drove over from Louisiana bringing this engine, he brought the second crankshaft with him that we're going to try and use. So he had 30 days to return that. So we were at 2 weeks into 30 days, so we immediately, as soon as he dropped this engine off, we immediately put the crankshaft up on the crankshaft checking machine, and we mic'd it. It was 10 already, 1010. We checked the alignment on it. The alignment was good, so we feel like that crank will grind and make a good 2020 for him. So we told him that he was a go on the crankshaft, so not to worry about having to send it back for any issues like that. So that is the crankshaft we're going to use in the engine. This one here is pretty much destroyed. It's going to be trash. Not sure about the camshaft. I'm sure there's damage on it. So basically, this is going to be a complete build. We're going to tear this engine all the way down to the bare block, like we do all of them, and then we're going to get our measurements. We're going to see where we're at on bore size, and hopefully we're just really got our fingers crossed and hoping that the block didn't get damaged in any way. It's a numbers matching block that goes with the car. It's got the correct heads, correct valve covers. It's got the correct winner's intake. This is a high dollar intake. It's got the correct carburetor. Everything on the cars is pretty much correct. So we're going to distributor in it. You know, these cars, the tachometer is driven by cable. So he's got the correct tach drive distributor in it. So we're gonna next week, our plan is to disassemble this engine, kind of make an assessment analysis of it as far as where we're at, what it needs, kind of get us a parts list and start getting it to ride it through our shop. It'll end up in all three departments of our shop. We'll start off with the head department. We'll go through the cylinder heads all from front to back, make sure they're all good, check the valves, springs, check everything. Next thing we'll have is the block. We'll put the block into our block department. We'll get it cleaned real good. We'll magnaflux it. Make sure we don't have any cracks. Sometimes you get some kind of catastrophic, something like this happens, it kind of shocks that cast iron, and it's prone sometimes to cracking. And would crack sometimes right in the main webbing, the main journal webbing. So we're going to check that real close and make sure that we don't have any block damage. Hopefully we don't. And then, of course, the next thing is the crankshaft that he brought us. We're going to get that crankshaft ground. It's 1010 now. We're going to get it ground to 2020. And that's the crankshaft we're going to use. Now, we talked a little bit. When he dropped this engine off, we talked a little bit about his build. I kind of got a feel, an idea of what he's looking for. And this is what he told me, and these are his words. I'm going to quote him. He said, "I want a gentleman's Corvette." So I said, "Okay, tell me what you mean by a gentleman's Corvette." He says, "I want one that I can get in there, start it up. I don't have an erratic camshaft. I got just a stock camshaft with just a little bit more torque in it that I can get in and just drive." So I said, so at that time, we kind of went through our camshafts and kind of picked one out of the camshaft we're going to put in it. So we've got that choice made for him. Again, the camshaft he's got in it now, he's not happy with it. It's way too much camshaft for him. The car's real erratic, idle's rough, the drivability's not real good. So he wants a camshaft on the low side, about 1200 RPM. on the high side about 5,500 RPM. That's kind of the range that he wants to be in as far as the performance of the camshaft. So, and we found one we're gonna probably be about 425 lift. That's where he wants to be. I think this one's over 500. He's not happy with it, so we're going to take that out and upgrade it with what he's looking for. A lot of times when we do these builds like this, you got to talk to the customer. You got to find out, number one, what he's looking for in the build, in the vehicle, and number two, you've got to make and design a package around what he wants. And we've done that with this. It's already bored. I think he told me it's bored 30 over. We'll verify that, check that. But that's kind of the highlights of this build. Looking forward to working with Mr. Hebert. Again, he's from Thibodaux, Louisiana. He's a Cajun. He's a funny guy to talk to. I met him and his wife. They drove over. I mean, it's 525 miles from here to Thibodaux. That's a long way to bring an engine. But he has trusted us. He has entrusted us to do this build for him. He's been very impressed with what we do, how we do it, the checks that we make, the procedures that we go through, checking bearing clearances, looking for certain numbers there, and the way we do a lot of things that, you know, I guess maybe normal people don't do, normal engine builders don't do. We're a little bit more than an engine shop. We strive to get an engine built that's going to last. Okay, we don't want him putting it in his car and going down the road 2 miles and it starts knocking. We're going to actually run this engine on our run-in stand. This is our run-in stand right here. We're going to run this engine for him and set it to specs. Make sure it's all good. Run it through probably 4 or 5 heat cycles, and then when I call him, when he comes to get it, you know, we know it'll leave here, and we'll know that it's running like it's supposed to. It's been set to specs and everything's good to go. He basically just set it back in his car, hook up some wiring and so forth, headers or whatever he's got to do, and then hit that switch, and it'll fire right up. Timing will be set. Carburetor will be adjusted, timing will be set. In other words, it'll be ready to go, ready to crank as soon as it leaves here. That's what we shoot for. So what we'll do is next week we're going to get into the disassembly and assessment, like I told you earlier. We're going to do that next week. We'll do a video of that. We'll do a video of our teardown on it, and kind of go through everything and point out any problems we find, issues we find, things that we would do different, so on and so forth. So that's what's on schedule now for the next couple of weeks. So we think you'll enjoy it. I know we're certainly looking forward to it. Love building these old 327 small block Chevys. They're like I said, they're an iconic engine. They were around for a long time, and they were in a lot of cars, early cars, 67s and back. Corvettes, 55 Chevrolets, Impalas, Bel Airs, trucks. I mean, these engines were used in a lot of different things. This particular one is, like I said, is a 340 horse. A little bit more horsepower than a stock one would be. So, and the reason of that is it's in that Corvette. So, I hope you enjoyed this, kind of bringing you up to speed in the shop where we're at, what we've been doing, and where we're headed. So, stay tuned in next week. We'll get this engine kind of disassembled, get everything checked out, kind of let you watch the disassembly part of it, and then we'll start moving it through our shop in all the various different departments and getting it ready for reassembly. So once again, thanks for tuning in on our Facebook page. YouTube subscribers, thank you very much. We look forward to bringing you next week's video and kind of showing you what we've got here to work with, and start moving forward with this build. So thanks again, and I appreciate you tuning in.